end up being that final sentence. Again, I go through all this of the three major concerns that I'm trying to address: protection of the public, the gravity, and the character of you. In the protection of the public role, you had one prior OWI-related incident. You know, most folks don't get any, even one OWI. Those that do get one seldom get a second. They've learned their lesson. Here, you had only one, but you have other lessons to be learned by other incidents, the blacking out, the Rusk County matter, which brings me to the comment you made today, that when you found out you were to become a father, you sobered up. Yet from everything I heard, you were using THC just the day before that accident. Not only on this date, November 3rd, 2018, did you use an inhalant, you did so while driving a motor vehicle. In some respects, that made your motor vehicle a dangerous and deadly weapon, as we all see in this case came to be. You'd already seen that day the effect on Mr. Stender of the inhalant. He apparently had blacked out, laid down in the seat is what I think I heard. But still, you continue to drive while using it. Again, the gravity of the offense, it all comes back. 4 lives lost, 1 maimed. Countless of lives impacted. The emotional damage is immeasurable and undescribable. I am confident that on both sides of the aisle in the last 16 months, there have been sleepless nights and tears shed. All could have been avoided. Finally, I've got to look at your character, sir. It's hard to assign a character or describe a character for somebody as young as you. But I have to tell you, yesterday after leaving here, I was disappointed by your video where you wouldn't take more responsibility. You did better today, I suppose, but that speaks to your character. As it's been said 100 times, not 100 times, it's been a lot of times here in the last day and a half, it was you that ultimately controlled the brake. You controlled the gas pedal. And as somebody did say yesterday, you could have blown the horn even. According to what we're hearing today, you were driving at 39 miles an hour or less. What could have been prevented if you'd have hit the brakes, slowed down, even honked the horn? Even when all that, you could have stopped, but instead you accelerated away. Then only 5 hours later, go to the police department. That all speaks to your character, sir. Again, it sticks out in my mind, all these young girls had vests on. You had prior warning signals. As judges, Mr. True, we are supposed to consider probation as a first line of punishment. Nobody here, I think, would realistically suggest that would be appropriate. That would unduly depreciate the circumstances and seriousness of this offense. So, Mr. True, I get to the end of my review. Like the lawyers ahead of me, I am going to make each sentence for each count separate. I'm going to make each sentence be consecutive to each other. For causing the death of Autumn Helgeson, I sentence you to 21 years in the Wisconsin prison system, 11 years in and 10 on ES. For causing the death of Jana Kelly, 21 years consecutive, 11 in, 10 on ES. For causing the death of Haley Heckel, 21 years, 11 in, 10 on ES. For causing the death of Sarah Schneider, 21 years, 11 in, 10 out. For causing great bodily harm to Madeline Zwiefelhofer. Here I struggle a lot. She's still around. She's still alive. She not only has the emotional harm, but the physical harm as well. 15 years, 10 in and 5 out. Now, Mr. True, if I do my math right, that should be 54 years in. Most of that you'll sit. On the count 9, you have a right to some early release numbers that can reduce that by about 15%. But you'll be held in custody until you're in your 70s. I will adopt as my conditions of ES those outlined by the agent. No contact with Robin Kelly or Brian Kelly or their family. No contact with Bradley or Kimberly Helgeson. No contact with Judy Schneider or her family. No contact with Ryan or Diane Zwiefelhofer or their families. And if I didn't say so, I meant the Robin Kelly families as well, and the Helgeson families as well. Not to possess or consume illegal or illicit drugs, inhalants, or alcohol. Submit a DNA sample. Comply with all programming required by the department. I had written down at one time that I also wanted a condition to be that you would have any vehicle you own or operate equipped with an IID. That's the ignition interlock device. I'm not going to make that as part of my order. I don't know what's going to be around for technology in 50-some years, but I'd like the department to consider that that would be a consideration that I'd like to see them at least address. Mr. True, these are all felonies. As a result, you cannot possess a firearm, and you have lost your voting rights until those rights are restored to you. I have a written explanation of my sentence here for your lawyers. I'll give you a copy of that right now. Counsel, what am I missing?
Statutory court cost, Your Honor.
Ordered. Anything else for the defense?
Your Honor, at this time we would like to file our most right sequel petition relief.
He said
If I may approach.
Absolutely. Anything else, Mr. Newell?
No, Your Honor.
Counsel? We're done. Folks, please stay seated while Mr. True and his counsel are allowed to leave. Did you get everything you needed? Finally, folks, I'd ask you not to congregate in the hallways. A lot of things going on today. Local rule says no interviews there, so thank you for your attention. We're done. I'm sorry?
I just said remain seated.
Oh.